Welcome to the Chronically Healthy Life show, streaming live from Houston, Texas. Now, when you hear the word chronically, do you automatically associate it with chronic disease? We all do. It's been programmed right into us, right? But what if we flip the whole idea on its head? Let's discover how we can create chronic health in our bodies, in our minds, in our finances, our relationships, our lives. Let's jump right in. I'm Andy Nam, and joining me is my life partner, Minna Wong. Hi, Minna. How are you?
I'm pretty good, I guess. Why are you asking me this? So last time we talked about foundations to having a chronically healthy life. And part of that is to protect your mind, right? And we challenge you to stop watching the mainstream news for 3 days. How did that work out for you?
Yeah, just listening back to some of the viewers, some of them loved it. Some of them not so much. But I think that's okay. The positive thing is they all found some time back for themselves, right? I think that's really important. The time that you have back for yourselves for not watching the news. But the negative is that some felt that they were missing out. FOMO. The fear of missing out syndrome. I think some of them fear that they're missing out on news that was important, that's going to be changing their lives. But guess what? 3 days pass, you didn't watch the news, life goes on, right? Either way, we love your comments, so feel free to visit our website at chronicallyhealthy.com. Drop us and leave us all your thoughts, your comments, and we'll go there. We'll listen to your comments, and hopefully we can have some more future topics on whatever you guys want to look at. But Minna, let's talk about the crazy weather that's happening all over the United States and especially Texas.
Sure, let's take a look at this.
Hear ye, hear ye. Now on this February 2nd, Punxsutawney Phil, the seer of seers, was awakened from his wintry nap at dawn on Gobbler's Knob. Phil looked to the skies and then, speaking in groundhogese, directed this, President Dunkel, to the proper scroll, which reads, I see the morning has brought the finest people. I see their bravery and spirit. The time has come, I can feel it, the excitement, I can hear it. I see the folks with gray in their hair, and I see the kids all young and scrawny. Their eyes and cheeks aglow from the cold, clean air of sweet Punxsutawney. I see that everyone knows their part, and I am merely the sage. But above all else, I see a shadow on my stage. And so, no matter how you measure, it's 6 more weeks of winter weather.
So I don't know if you believe it or not. I thought it was interesting, entertaining. But anyways, the rest of the country has been having ice storms and a lot of rain, and it's not fun. So maybe this little groundhog is actually right. So I didn't know there's actually a groundhog until the movie Groundhog Day was that. What's his name?
Bill Murray.
See?
Yes.
Not too old yet.
Yes.
It's Bill Murray. I love the movie. It's a romance, but I don't know if I can actually trust a groundhog to predict the weather. Having said that, Phil the groundhog did predict 6 weeks more of winter, which look at Texas and some other states. Maybe he is a sage after all. Either way, I think we can all agree that the weather pattern has shifted. It gets hotter in the summer and colder in the winter. California has so much rain that it causes landslides and sinkholes, and trees are uprooted. We in Texas, we saw a tornado yesterday, and there's a lot
Last
of
week, yesterday.
Right, yesterday, not last week. And the rest of the states getting ice storm as we speak. So there's a lot of damage to the community, and this weather is no joke. The takeaway is that we need to take control of our lives and be more self-sufficient.
And just piggybacking on that, I like to tell a story of why it's so important for all of us to have more control in our lives and to really be more self-sufficient. So a couple months ago, the weather was so bad in Vancouver, British Columbia, and that's where we're originally from, Vancouver, BC, Canada. And the snow was coming faster than they can plow the road. So it's just packing on the roads, and people weren't driving on the roads. It was a hot mess. Vancouver really dropped the ball on cleaning the roads. At least that's my opinion. But I'm not living there anymore. Guess not my problem. But it ended up being my problem because my oldest brother, he's been suffering from type 2 diabetes for like over 20 years now. And he listened to his doctor. He depended on drugs to manage it. And rather than changing his lifestyle, we tried to reverse, his type 2 diabetes. Well, anyways, his kidneys got so damaged now, and he requires peritoneal dialysis to basically clean his blood, and he depends on these monthly supplies that's delivered to him at home, right? Like every month he gets these new supplies. And here comes the problem, because he can't speak English. He never bothered learning to speak English. So I'm in charge of ordering all his diabetes supplies every single month. And the problem was, during the snowstorm, the roads, they were just so bad that, the local delivery service that was supposed to deliver supplies on time, it was delayed for like over a week. And, when you are on peritoneal dialysis, this is a life and death situation. And if you don't get your supplies to basically wash out all the garbage, all the crap out of your blood, this could end up really bad for my brother. And, I somehow got the phone number for delivery company. I called the manager and I begged and I begged and I begged. I said, look, you have to get these supplies to my brother. And he said, well, there's so much snow, the corporate's shutting us all down. And, I begged them, can you do it personally as a personal favor? And, he actually hopped on his Jeep and he drove it himself, and he drove supplies. And there was a lot of supplies. These boxes are like 20, 30 pounds, and there's like 40 boxes. That's a lot of weight. And bless his heart, because it could have turned really bad if that wasn't delivered to my brother in time. And, one of the main reasons we conceived the show is we really hope we can inspire you to take charge of your health, so you don't develop chronic diseases like my brother did. And you will never, ever need to depend on others for your life or death situation. So in the future episodes, we're going to add a new segment to the show and, bring you into our kitchen, bring you into our gardens, as soon as all this winter weather is up. And, we're going to show you these very simple ways where you can grow and prepare your own foods, and how eating well can not only boost your immune system, but of course your health.
When we say simple, we meant it. I can barely handle a knife. I cut myself every time. So I'm going to show you simple ways that you can make healthy home-cooked meals for you. And it's going to be really important for you to start taking matters into your own hand and trying to be as healthy as you can.
We're very excited because today, we got our very first guest coming on later in the show. Her name is Ilene Gottlieb. Gottlieb. Okay, see, I'm so bad in pronouncing names. And she is the president and CEO of Vibrational Healing from the Heart. She has extensive experience in not only nursing, but also vibrational healing. And, we're going to learn from her how she uses a holistic approach to clearing energy blocks and, of course, promoting healing. After this short break, we're going to be talking about one of the other fundamentals in the family, and that will be about relationships. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. Over the next few episodes, we're going to be sharing little aspects of our lives so you can get to know us a little bit better about us and, why we conceptualize the show and why we're doing the show. And a topic we would like to discuss today is really about relationships and how it can affect your family and of course your kids. And one of the things that we noticed over the last few years as families were confined at home is that some relationships they flourished, they became so much more loving, while others ended up hating each other with nasty divorces or fights or moving out and separations. And growing up, I thought I had a pretty normal family. My parents always had something to complain about, and they fought most of the time. And however, we did a lot of things as a family together. We had like weekly movie nights. I really remember those. It was like all these kung fu movies. That was so awesome. And we went fishing as a family all the time. Fresh fish, fresh caught. I didn't even know that was so good for us until now. But when we were at home, the only time they really talked to each other was during dinner. Other times they were always fighting over something or another, and it was very annoying for us as kids watching that. But when they're around other friends or other families, they always put up this smiley face, and everyone thought that we're a happy family. It was this really really weird love hate relationship. And I grew up in a fairly large family, being the youngest of 10, as both my parents did remarry, and we, I share a brother that has the same mother and father, but all my other siblings are half siblings. And I thought all this fighting and all this, catcalling, whatever, I thought it was normal. I just thought that's how relationships were, that families had their squabbles. And but for us it was very shameful to show this to others, so they just pretend that it doesn't happen. And as I grew a little bit older, I started feeling a little bit ashamed of my family. I didn't want people to be around. And this really changed my feelings of how family should be when I met Minna. So Minna, how did you feel when I first introduced you to my family? Because I know my parents loved you, but at least I know for sure my dad did.
Well, that was a long time ago, and it was a little shocking, I guess. I mean, the family dynamics are very, very different. You've been to my house before,
Yes.
and it's like it's so quiet, it's so peaceful, so calm. My parents speak to each other quietly and kind of lovingly, as opposed to shouting at each other all day long. My dad and my mom, they had a very different relationship. My aunt used to say that my dad has four daughters. Well, in reality, he has three daughters. I'm the youngest of the three daughters. The fourth one she was referring to is my mom. My dad took care of my mom like she's a daughter. So no matter what happens, she comes first. She's always the center of his attention. So growing up, when they have such a close relationship, the kids feels like they're kind of second, which when you're a teenager, you kind of resent them a little bit. But as you grow up, you kind of learn to appreciate it. It's how I think I want it to be, because that's how our relationship is too. So you know, it's just the funny thing is though, I never remember playing with my parents. They are much older than me, so I'm the youngest one. So my mom she was 36 years older than me. So it's my sister that's play with me. It's my sister that takes me out to play, to swimming or whatever. Of course, they throw me in a swimming pool and hopefully I'll drown or something. But anyways, it's my aunt took me to Disneyland, and my parents just dropped me off. So it's interesting. Every family is different. Every relationship is different. But the thing with family, and actually any relationship, well, actually with families, with families, you love them, you would do anything for them, but at the same time, you kind of hate them at some point in time. Is that right?
I totally agree. And that dynamic, watching how loving their parents were compared to mine, it is just very different. And and just talking about how your parents, how the parents model their children is like, just to give you a little background, like almost all my older siblings that got married, and like I said, I had a lot of them. they're all divorced. It's almost like they're following the same footsteps as my parents did. And even like my oldest brother-in-law, it's like several years ago, I saw him arguing with my sister-in-law, and the kids were all hating him. And I said to him, and this is like my closest brother, right? He's 3 years older than me. I said, look, you're being like dad. And of course that set him off. He's like, I'm not like, effing dad. But I said, look, that's exactly where you are. Look how you're treating your kids. But needless to say, I'm so happy that they resorted that all out. It's a happy family now, so I'm happy for them. But like even my niece, on my sister's side, they're divorced too. So like this love-hate relationship, it really spanned like 3 generations, and it's sort of sad.
Yeah, parents, they would always try to mold the children the way they were brought up because that's how they know how to do it. But you have a choice to grow up to be like your parents or not. That's up to you. Family is, the other F-bomb that I sometimes drop.
I have a story because my dad, growing up, my dad was horrible, abusive, mean, cruel. And on 2 birthdays ago, I got a phone call from him. I hadn't spoken to him in about 10 years. And he called and he told me he loved me and apologized. And now I actually have a good relationship with my father. I would never have believed it, but it happened probably because I did a lot of work on myself in terms of forgiving and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to drop that in because families are complicated. And we never know.
And that is so true. And I'm glad you brought up the forgiveness part, because I think that is a very big part of relationships. You have the love-hate, but a lot of times we forget to forgive. And I think that's where a lot of these problems come up to, right, Mena? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, that's why we have today's guest, Ilene Gottlieb. She's a heart healer, and I think she can help a lot of us learn to handle this kind of emotion because like families are emotional. We can't wait to meet Ilene there.
Oh, I'm so excited about her for that very reason. she's
So
gonna really
coming up next, Christy, she's gonna be talking with our guest Ilene about vibrational healing, and you're gonna learn all about it. Don't miss this after this short little break.
Hello, we are Mutts and Meows Rescue, a 501c3 nonprofit, foster-based, no-kill group. Mutts and Meows Rescue pulls dogs and cats from surrounding shelters in the greater Houston area. We even pick up dogs and cats abandoned on the streets. Mutts and Meows Rescue is foster-based and rely on your donations to keep rescuing. To know more about us is to know more about our furry friends and help them find their forever homes. Come visit us at Mutts and Meows Rescue on Facebook today and decide how you can make a difference.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I am so incredibly pleased to introduce you to Ilene Gottlieb, affectionately known as the Heart Healer. How wonderful of a nickname that is for you, Ilene. I'm just going to tell you, she has actually been in nursing for over 50 years and has spent 29 years doing vibrational healing, one of my personal favorite things. She helps an international clientele of heart-centered individuals and my dyslexic tongue, entrepreneurs who struggle with trauma, fear, self-sabotaging negative thoughts and behaviors, and self-worth issues to experience inner peace, self-confidence, empowerment, and knowing their life purpose. That is amazing. Ilene's passion and soul purpose herself are teaching conscious heart connection and ho'oponopono, I said it right, An ancient Hawaiian problem-solving process that's a simple but extremely powerful tool for healing. Ilene, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Christy. This is my absolute joy and pleasure. And thank you. You all pronounced my name fairly well, and you did well with Ho'oponopono.
I've been practicing.
Not an easy word for sure, but it is a beautiful one, to say the least.
Well, I think we should just jump right in because I'll bet that most of our viewers are going, what is Ho'oponopono? So can you just kind of give us an overview what it is? And
Sure. Ho'oponopono is an ancient Hawaiian, some refer to it as a problem-solving process. It is most familiarly known by the 4 phrases, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, or thank you. And if you've heard those 4 phrases, you might have heard them in a different order, and it all works. In the 1970s, a beautiful Hawaiian kahuna named Morna Nalamaku Simeona. She was a kahuna lapa'au, which is a kahuna who is well-versed in healing modalities, received wisdom in a meditation to update the ancient Hawaiian version of Ho'oponopono to what we know it as of today, which is referred to as self-identity through Ho'oponopono. And the I represents divine intelligence or our creator, by whatever name we call that in our personal relationship with that part of us. So yeah, so that's pretty much what Ho'oponopono is in a nutshell.
Oh, wow. That's just, my experience with it has been that it is so gentle. And you just get into this really lovely, it feels like an exhale space. Like, oh, I don't have to carry this anymore. And it's such a relief. And then I'm sure that energetically, do you find that the people that, if you're focusing on someone in particular, a relationship in particular that might be difficult, that you don't even have to say it to them. You can just do it and it can shift the energy of the relationship.
Right. The reason why I love this process so much is its simplicity, but it's extraordinarily powerful. And the original version, the ancient version, was a facilitated process. So remember the 4 phrases, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, right? So imagine in ancient Hawaiian days, 2,500 some odd years ago, in an island community, right? Everybody knew each other, more likely than not. And so the process was facilitated in that time by either the head of household or the local kahuna. And everyone, because the ancient Hawaiians held a high regard for peace within themselves and their community. So anything that disrupted the peace needed to be nipped in the bud. And Ho'oponopono was the process that was utilized in order to accomplish that. And so everybody had to express love for each other. Everyone had to say, I love you to everybody in the room. Everyone had to say, I'm sorry for whatever I did that disrupted our peace, even though they understood that they weren't going to know the all of what happened, the all of the why, but they still accepted 100% responsibility for whatever they did to contribute it, because they came in with the belief that that's why they were here, to atone for everything that happened before they came in, meaning our ancestors. And then everyone had to say, we're going, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me. They had to ask for forgiveness from everyone. And then they had to express gratitude for everyone. And until everyone could do that with everyone, that process continued. So you can imagine it might have been a bit confrontational at times, right? But the way that it was updated by Morna Simeona, there is no need to address whatever the issue is that we're seeing as a problem, that we're perceiving or experiencing that way. We don't have to directly engage with anyone. We're initiating the transmutation of whatever the root cause is, by divine intelligence or God, by whatever name.
Whatever name.
Right. So we're not technically doing the cleaning, because how can we? We can't know where all the pieces of the puzzle are. There's a real interesting book called The User Illusion by Tor Noratranders. It's a book on consciousness. And in that book, he shares that for every 15 bits of data per second that we're consciously aware of, there are 15 million plus bits of data per second we have no knowledge of. So we think we know the why of why we feel the way we do, or why our relationships aren't working, as Minna and Andy were just talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't. We know consciously probably less than 1%. So giving up the need to know the why, or giving up the need to understand it or to engage with someone about it, to me was very freeing. Because from energy principles, when you engage in something, remember, you're focusing on it, right? Mm-hmm. And we all know that if we focus on something, the energy is going to expand and grow. So if we focus on the problem is what expands and grows. But if we focus on the solution, whether it's a positive affirmation, or being conscious of our mindset or our words, or being aware of our feelings and doing our best to move through them, or using Ho'oponopono in addition to all of that, we have this amazing ability to heal so much that we don't need to know the why. We can still just, like you say, breathe in like a deep breath and sigh as we release it.
Just let it go. Yeah, it's such a relief. I'm sure Andy and Minna were sharing some of their background, and I would love to hear your story of how you came to find this and how it impacted your life.
So it's a long story, so we have only a certain amount of time. So I'm going to give you the real abridged version, right? I am a child of childhood abuse, right? I am a survivor of that, I should say. And the person who was the challenging person in my family was my mom. And so when I was a kid, not knowing this until later in life, I was born an empath and an intuitive. And I shut down all those gifts with the environment of abuse that I experienced, and being so sensitive to everything. It was my defense mechanism. And all of this was awakened in 1994 when I had a spiritual awakening. And then in 2018, my mom was in the hospital, and something happened that she was so abusive that it triggered my PTSD that took me months to heal from. And I was looking and looking and looking because nothing was working. And believe me, I have a lot of really good colleagues that do all different forms of vibrational healing. But long story shorter, it was in December of that year that Ho'oponopono came to me as a course of study, whereas I had known about it. I utilized it in healing sessions with clients when I was intuitively guided to do so, but I had never studied it until then. Mm-hmm. And I had a greater appreciation for the energetics of it after studying it. And it was through Ho'oponopono that not only did I heal back pain in an hour, right, but in 4 months of focusing on initiating the cleaning from myself of whatever the cause of my mom's suffering was. Remember, it's all self-contained. I'm not doing anything to her, right? In 4 months, almost to the day of when I started doing it, my mother sat in her new assisted living apartment on her walker and said to everyone, "I want you to know how much I love you."
Oh,
I knew that it was the Ho'oponopono, that nothing else could have been the cause for this change in personality and in behavior. Mm-hmm. And so I am forever grateful for healing PTSD from childhood and having a 1.5 years of a relationship with my mom before she transitioned to spirit that was the most loving it had ever been. And so that's why I'm passionate about this process.
Yes, it's amazing. I mean, I feel such empathy for you because I relate completely. And that shift is, when it happens, is just, there's nothing like it. It's, you just kind of sit back and go, wow, this is amazing. You know, Ilene, would you be willing to share, like, you said the cleaning,
Mhm.
the cleaning is there a way that our audience, we can share with them how to get started with making the statements, and in a real easy, practical way?
Absolutely. So I like to work with a cleaning statement that goes like this, right? It's, to whatever memories are in me that are the cause for, fill in the blank with the problem. Like for me, it was, as an example, to whatever memories are in me that are the cause of my mom suffering. That was the problem. And then you add the phrase, on any and all levels. If it's something outside of you or something that you are cleaning from yourself to help someone else, like my mom, you add the phrase that I am to atone for. And then you add the 4 phrases: I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, or just I love you, or just thank you repeatedly. And as I mentioned earlier, you might have learned those 4 phrases in a different order. It all works. And so there's 4 applications, right? One is just kind of walking around the house, singing, dancing, doing whatever you're doing and thinking, I love you, I love you, I love you, or thank you, thank you, thank you, or I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. It all works. The more you say any of these phrases, the more you're initiating the cleaning of whatever serves your highest good to be transmuted by divine intelligence or God. And so the second application is, if in the moment, we're talking about family relationships earlier, as I was listening to Andy and Minna, right? If somebody said something that triggered you, you don't have to respond or react. You can just sit there and think, whatever was the trigger for this, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, thank you, thank you, thank you, until you feel that triggered feeling shift. The third application is the one that I just shared, where you create a cleaning statement that is to address a problem, issue, or challenge that you're currently having. And you want to repeat that statement as many times as you can, a minimum of twice a day, but as often as you can. Because again, the more you initiate the cleaning, the more that issue is transmuted, the more peace, the more healing, right?
Yes.
Fourth application is when you want to initiate the cleaning of something from yourself. It's all being cleaned from ourselves to benefit someone else. Again, the example of my mom. So it wasn't that I was asking for it to be cleaned from her. I was asking for whatever the problem was to be cleaned from me. But the beauty of it is it's simultaneously cleaned from both, as well as anyone holding the same frequency of issue.
Yes.
I think of this as a PSA. It's a public service act.
I like that. It really is, because in families, we tend to hold the same imprints. And so that you can see it kind of ease across the whole family. That's amazing.
Right.
You said something about, singing and dancing. I don't always feel happy when I'm digging deep into something. I often feel a lot of anger. And is it okay if I'm just,
Absolutely.
I love you, I forgive you?
Absolutely. You don't even have to believe that it will help. You can be angry when you're saying it. You just have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Because in doing it, all of that anger, all of that emotion that you just expressed, right, is part of what will be cleaned.
Oh.
Right? So yeah, you don't have to say it in any kind of meaningful, airy-fairy kind of a way, or assume the Om position. No, you just say it as often as you can. Whatever this is, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, God damn it, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And it's okay. And it's okay. Whatever words, it's your conversation with your creator.
Mm.
And whatever you say is okay.
You know, I love that. You know, I'm in a stressful situation in my home right now because my elderly mom lives with me and she's quite ill. And I think she might be declining and preparing to pass. And so she gets me up a lot in the night. So I try to grab sleep wherever I can. And last night I was struggling to go to sleep. And I remembered, I thought of this and I thought, you know, I'm just going to start saying and I just started saying the phrases.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing I know, so she calls me on my phone and wakes me up when I need to go get her. My phone was ringing. And I thought, oh, because you don't realize you fell asleep until you wake up. And I thought, I went to sleep and I stopped fighting. And so I've only just learned about this for our audience. I just met Ilene a couple weeks ago at an event we both attended, and we clicked and hit it off. And she taught me this, and I have been trying it, and I've seen shifts already. But you know, I think the biggest thing you notice at first is within yourself. You just go, oh, I'm just, you know, I think of this thing and it's not bothering me that much anymore. And that's a relief.
It's a sense of peace. I have a membership community where we focus on just how to create and maintain a consistent Ho'oponopono practice so that you receive the benefit much more readily. And if there is one common thread, it's relationships. Right? It's parents with children, it's adult children with their parents, it's in-laws, it's siblings, you name it. And because everything in this realm is about being in relationship to someone or something. And everything's a reflection of who we're being with ourselves. And that's the only relationship that we get to consciously choose how we're being in it, right? We can't change what's outside of us. And Ho'oponopono helps us hold that space of being in a loving relationship with ourselves first. And that gets reflected in how we're being with other people and with our life experiences.
Yeah, I'm in my former life, I was a teacher in a classroom. Right. And I have to say, I wish I had known more about this then, because when I had 40 kids in the room and there was chaos everywhere and 3 of the 40 were acting out big time, it would have been a powerful tool to have.
I have actually 2 people in my membership community that are both elementary ed teachers. And they do find it to be incredibly helpful for them holding that space so that they can be loving and productive with them.
Ilene, I understand you have a gift for our viewers. Would you like to tell us?
I do. In my community, I started sending daily messages, and it got to be called like "Every Day is a Good Day for Ho'oponopono." And they were with really beautiful memes. And I got the idea to create an ebook to help people understand the basics of it. And that's my gift to everyone that would like to learn a little bit more about Ho'oponopono. So it's called Every Day is a Good Day for Ho'oponopono. And it's inspirational messages from my heart. And I hope that it's a blessing for whoever decides that it speaks to them, that they would like to have it.
That's wonderful. That is at IleneTheHeartHealer.com/Chronically Healthy Life TV gift. And Ilene, it is such a pleasure. I could just talk to you all day. It is such a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure, Christy. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. This is Christy Boyd Johnson, the co-founder and CEO of the Barefoot Learning Club. We know that school can be a little scary these days, between all the pretty horrifying stuff that's going on with bullying and shootings and whatever else is going on. Our kids are having to endure this, and it results in a very rough situation. So we know a lot of parents want to homeschool. And that's why we're here. We're here to give you full support in homeschooling your children, making sure they get the foundational skills of reading, writing, and math in place so that they can literally do whatever they want. They can learn anything and do it with less stress, less time, and a lot more fun. And the best part is the results, you'll be amazed at the results that we get. So we would like to invite you to have it. If you want to talk to me personally, if you go to our website, barefootlearningclub.com, there's a Talk to Christy button. Just click it and it goes right to my calendar. Schedule a talk with me. It's a half an hour conversation and I can answer your questions and you can talk to me in person and I can talk to you in person and we can see if this is a good fit for you. I'm hoping it is. It's a new and different paradigm from anything you've seen before, but I think it's much better. All right. Ciao for now.
Welcome back to the Chronically Healthy Life show. And each week we like to highlight a local business that we know and trust to help build out our community. And, one of our fundamentals in living a chronically healthy life is the L, which for us stands for longevity. And, today we have on our local business community outreach, Freddy Frederick from Forever Young. I just visited his amazing facility yesterday. Hi, Freddy. How are you?
Andy, it's good to be on your show. Thank you. I am seeing all of the people around, and you're turning something amazing out, my friend.
Thank you so much. So, Freddy, I can tell everyone about your amazing facility, but why don't you share a little bit about your business and, how it can help the community with not only improving their health, but of course, the longevity?
Yeah, it's funny that the two ladies that were before me, Christy and Ilene, they talked about all these stresses that come into life later. And I think we dovetail into that in Forever Young. We are in the hormone replacement therapy business. We are in the Botox and filler business, and we're in the IV business. And while all those three things might not seem to interject or intersect to each other, we make people look better and feel better. And a lot of those things relieve a lot of stress in our lives. Sometimes a little self-care and a lot of health-care really do help us live longer and better lives.
I totally agree with what you said there. Those little stress points, right? Those little things that you're so worried about how people view you or how you're feeling, because like so many people, it's like they may not be feeling well because their hormones are imbalanced, right? So, it's glad. So like, how do you determine if people need these hormone therapies?
It's not just Kentucky windage. We don't just decide what we need. I'm glad you're chuckling at that. Every patient that comes in, it's an individualized, customized physician's route. Our NPs pull blood. Our NPs, in conjunction with our MD, look at that blood and they decide what the course of action is going to be. There is no one size fits all in the world. And, there are men's testosterone clinics on every corner in every community in America, but that's not true for women. And we really try to make sure that we can help both men and women in that journey in the hormone replacement side.
That's excellent. That's excellent. We're going to have you on a future show as a guest speaker.
Oh, well, thank you.
Information
I'm so excited.
That I want to dive in with you. But, why don't you just explain quickly, like for testosterone, like what are some symptoms that men may have? Because they might not even realize they're low on testosterone, right?
I'll first start with the bedroom function because that's what everyone thinks of.
Of course.
And while that is an issue, after the age of 30, 33, 35, men start to lose between 2 and 3% of their testosterone per year. That's not good. So it does create issues there. And the one thing that I would like to say in that issue is it's not just about a man being a man. It's also about intimacy in a relationship. So it can create stress for the man, which then relates to the lady. So it's more than just that bedroom component. It's not just about that. We like to stress men's health is created from hormones. Men usually die faster. It's from coronary heart disease. Their endocrine
That is so true. And, I like how you bring it back because, we're talking about relationships on today's episode. And a lot of this frustration, like you said, performance anxieties, it can cause a lot of relationship issues, right?
It can. And if testosterone gets out of control with estrogen, even in men, many times we think of that as a woman function. Estrogen can be a villain in men. And our bodies need repair, and that's caused through testosterone. So it needs to be looked at, men and women.
Of course, of course. And, for your clinic, like for me, I help a lot of people get functional health back. I help a lot of people lose weight, gain their health back. But, there's certain people that may have gained a lot of weight and it may be related with hormone functions. And I understand that for people that are having struggles that you can help with them too, right?
Yes, sir. Our lab, we pull the same lab whether patients are going to go on semaglutide or for hormone replacement therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And we offer that semaglutide treatment, which we are finding is helping a lot of patients. It's helping them realize that things are going wrong. We try to make sure that they're put on a balanced diet at the same time they're being placed on that medication, which is really a modulator inside the system. So we're not talking about trying to increase metabolism. We're trying to create a better human and a better person by offering them that semaglutide with a blood test to see what else is wrong with them.
That is so awesome, because I'm going to be referring people your way for people that are struggling with weight loss, because it could be just something going on inside their bodies. And, the thing I really like to talk about is the longevity aspect. And you talked about IV infusions. I'm sure there are some IV infusions, and I'm going to be heading over to your clinic soon.
We can't wait.
Longevity.
There are. We have lots of longevity things. We like the symbol 4. You can see it up here behind me, the number forever young. It's in our thing. Forever healthy, forever happy, forever young. And the science of the future is happening here in our clinic. We offer lots of IV infusions, and those include NAD. They offer glutathione. Those things are anti-inflammatories. They're antioxidants. So they're amazing things that you can come in and check out. And we'd love to have you guys in to try that out and to talk about it in the community.
That is amazing. Like those antioxidants you're talking about, it's great because actually next week I actually have a 3-week event talking about lowering inflammation.
Yes,
and
sir.
It's all about antioxidants, and you are actually helping people boost their antioxidants through IVs.
Yeah.
I totally love that. So Freddie, I am so happy for you to have you on our show. What's the best way for us to reach you?
You can reach us right there. We're on Instagram. We're at Forever Young Katie on Instagram. My phone number, I believe, is up there. The number is 346-527-0500. And we would love to speak to you all about creating customized individual plans for each of you.
That is so awesome. Thank you for your time, Freddie. We're going to be picking your brain so much more in a future episode, but I'm excited that you're on our community outreach just to help the community know there are other ways to improve your health rather than just depending on drugs.
Yes, sir. Pharmaceuticals are not for us.
Thank you so much for your time, Freddie. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day.
Welcome back to Chronically Healthy Life. We know that building a chronically healthy life starts with building a loving relationship with your loved ones. No matter how busy life or your business may get, spend some time with them. You may not always agree with the thoughts, but rather than holding a grudge, learn to forgive or just agree to disagree.
So, next week we're going to have this amazing guest, Brenda Ringwood, and she's going to share with us how she beat cancer and how that inspired her to create Becoming the Best You events, both virtual and live events. And I'm going to be honored to be one of those amazing speakers on the live event in St. Louis. She's going to have like 35 amazing speakers. You don't want to miss this episode. We're going to be interviewing her next week. What are your thoughts, Christy?
Oh, I can't wait for that. You sent me the message on that. I can't wait to see you do that. But this has been a fantastic show. Everybody, this is just a topic that is it affects every area of our lives. And think of the peace we can achieve within ourselves just by, letting go of these stressors and just, doesn't mean we have to hang out with people who are refusing to be kind or or mean or whatever, but but it does mean that we get the peace within ourselves, and that is invaluable.
Yeah, think about it, because everything is a relationship, right? You have a relationship with people, you have a relationship with cats, we have a relationship with everybody that we come into contact with. Is just it's such an essential part of our lives, and no one really taught us how to handle relationships. So I think what we do here is good to help.
I do have one little. Oh, I'm sorry, Andy.
Go ahead, Christy.
I had a little experience. I took a donation down to the local place the other day, and I couldn't get the box out of the car. Someone helped me put it in. And there was this young man who looked like my nephew's age, like late 20s. I said, "Sir, could you please help me?" And he goes, "Oh, of course." And he comes over and he helps me carry it over and puts it in. And then I just said, "Oh, thank you so much for your kindness." And he looked at me like, "What?" And I couldn't quite tell if he was shocked that I said that, or if nobody had ever just been appreciative before, or if it was like, how could someone not help you? But anyway, it was a very lovely experience.
That is so true. We just really want to close for like the tip this week is, no matter how busy you think you are, how busy your business is, no matter how busy you think your life is, you really need to spend time with your family, right? Because they are watching you, every little thing you do. And, you're influencing, your kids as they're growing up, and they're going to model your life. So definitely give them the best lives by, living your best life.
Yes. So next week we are going to talk to Brenda Ringwood. You mentioned.
Yeah.
You mentioned that she is a cancer survivor. Christy, I know you have a similar story. So maybe next week we're going to put you on the spot and maybe share your story too.
I'm down with that. Yes, of course. It's an amazing topic. And yeah,
that's it for today. We're looking forward to see you again next Friday at 7 Central, 5 PST.